the legendary hero of Hyrule returns for another round of portable adventure in The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. The game borrows heavily from Phantom Hourglass, but several new mechanics set it aside from its predecessor. Does Link's latest ride run smoothly, or is it bound for derailment? Set roughly a century after the events of Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks tells the tale of Link and Zelda as they try to prevent the resurrection of an evil demon king named Malladus. The fiend had been imprisoned by the magical spirit tracks laid across the land, which have begun to mysteriously vanish, weakening their seal on the foe. To make matters worse, the Chancellor betrays Zelda, stealing her body and leaving her spirit behind. With time running out, Link and Zelda must work together to restore the power of the spirit tracks, recover Zelda's body, and stop the land of Hyrule from falling into ruin once again. It may sound like a typical Zelda plot, but having the princess along for the ride for the first time feels like a breath of fresh air. The dialogue is top-notch, in particular the banter between Link and Zelda, which accounts for most of the game's memorable moments. The pacing is decent enough, although the first hour or so does linger on. And though the ending is predictable, the payoff is incredibly satisfying, especially for longtime fans. If you've played Phantom Hourglass, then you'll feel right at home with Spirit Tracks. As Link, you'll set off across Hyrule, visiting various towns, helping out citizens, and battling through dungeons in order to restore peace to the land. The first hour or so serves as a control tutorial, but it doesn't drag on like previous installments. The game also does a good job of not getting too repetitive with the formula, throwing in a lot of diverse objectives to complete prior to ever stepping foot in a dungeon. As for the dungeons themselves, there aren't that many in the traditional sense, but they're plenty challenging with clever puzzles and rewarding boss battles. Furthermore, the central dungeon, which you visit several times during the course of the adventure, just keeps on giving. Though its floors are initially short and simple, they eventually come to rival the length and complexity of the classic Zelda dungeons. Those worried it'll play out much like the Temple of the Ocean King can rest easy, as there's no time limit, and you're never forced to retread old ground. Zelda will also occasionally accompany you on a dungeon run donning a heavy suit of armor. While co-op dungeons aren't a new concept to the series, Spirit Tracks definitely makes the best use of them yet. Link also trades in his boat for a new train, which he'll use to get around the vast world. There are tons of enemies and hidden collectibles to look out for while chugging around, and you'll need to switch tracks and change course frequently, so there's rarely a dull moment. Though it is more restrictive since you can't deviate from the track's courses, it does cut down on the time you'll spend aimlessly wandering around. That's not to say there's not a strong emphasis on exploration, though. There are a ton of side quests packed into the adventure, as well as the ability to unlock new paths and war points. Spirit Tracks also includes a competitive multiplayer component that requires only a single cartridge, but it's restricted to local Wi-Fi. It's odd that there's no online component to the multiplayer mode, given that Phantom Hourglass had that functionality. Still, it's mindless fun if you can find a few friends to join up. In addition to the local multiplayer, players can also trade treasures found in-game with each other via the tag mode, which can be used to create new custom parts for your train. Restoring the power of the Spirit Tracks will take around 20 hours, though the side quests can easily tack on several more. Just like Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks primarily relies on stylus input. You tap on a spot and Link moves. There have been some minor tweaks to refine the system, but nothing huge. Despite a few miscues, the controls work well, and there's even an option for lefties or righties. As for the lack of an option to use the D-pad for movement, we're still scratching our heads on that one, especially since it's only utilized as a redundant option to bring up the inventory or map screens. Many of the items you collect in each dungeon are also repeat offenders, handling identically to their counterparts in Phantom Hourglass. As for the new stuff in Link's toolbox, they're welcome additions that avoid the common trap of being utilized once and becoming useless shortly thereafter. The big new item is the Spirit Flute, which makes use of the microphone and touchscreen. You simply drag the flute around while blowing into the mic to play various melodies. It's an engrossing method, which not only progresses the story at several junctions of the quest, but is also quite the handy utility in other situations. Controlling Link's new train is similar to the boat in Phantom Hourglass, though there are a few key differences. There's no longer an option to jump over obstacles. Rather, you can blow the train's horn by tugging on a rope, which will clear out any animals impeding your progress. Drawing paths out with the stylus is also much easier due to the fixed nature of the tracks. You can manually change course at any switch with the touch of the stylus, but when a course is plotted, it will automatically do this for you. You also have to manually stop at each destination, but it's very simple, and it can be a guilty pleasure to slam on the brakes. In general, everything handles much better than before, and there are more clever uses of the stylus and microphone. Spirit Tracks retains the same visuals and style of Phantom Hourglass, so don't be surprised if you feel a bit of déjà vu. The look is still every bit as good as it was 2 years ago, but it's not pushing any limits on the hardware. While the soundtrack is also guilty of borrowing a few tunes, a good portion of the score is original. Many of the new tracks are standouts, which is a big deal for a series renowned for its music. Spirit Tracks addresses all of the shortcomings of Phantom Hourglass and delivers a brilliant experience. It hasn't done much to change up the established formula, but it's still a solid adventure that ranks as one of the better outings in the series.